Hello, so this is my neuron, and I've made it out of the cell body out of tinfoil. I used a straw for the axon. I cut the tip of the straw to make my axon terminals. I used some toothpicks for my dendrites, and then I made the myelin sheath out of a paper towel, and I just kind of taped it on and wrapped it around. Now, I'm going to go through and tell you the parts of the neuron. So this is my cell body. Remember, the cell body is going to keep the cell alive and determine if it's going to fire an action potential. And that happens here at the axon hillock. That's not something you have to point out, but just important to remember that that axon hillock is that swelling that leaves the cell body as the axon travels away from the cell body. These are my dendrites, and the dendrites are going to receive information. They receive information from another cell. So I use these fancy toothpicks that have these little doodads on them. But I thought they kind of look like they're branching out further, like the dendritic spines. Remember, those dendritic spines expand that surface area of the dendrite so they can have more receptors. So my dendrites receive the information. They're tree-like branches. Of course, they don't look like trees here, but that's okay. My cell body receives that information, keeps the cell alive, determines if it's going to fire an action potential at that axon hillock. Then the axon is this long extending fiber. You can see it's the same diameter, the entire length. It's going to fire an action potential away from the cell body, traveling in this direction. When that action potential reaches the cell body, it's going to go into these axon terminals, and these axon terminals are going to synapse on an adjacent cell, and they're going to release neurotransmitter. Now, this white fatty substance that's wrapping around that axon, it's an insulating material, and it's going to help that action potential fire faster, and it's called the myelin sheath. Now, these little gaps, you can see the green axon in between. These gaps are tiny microscopic spaces, and that's the nodes of Ranvier. And that action potential is going to jump from node of Ranvier to node of Ranvier, and that's called saltatory conduction. And here's my neuron. I have a picture of a better one in the assignment that's made out of other items. You can use whatever you want, whatever you can find around the house to make that neuron. Play-Doh, pasta, string, vegetables, fruit, anything. Get creative. Just make sure you make your neuron and you tell us what the parts are and explain what their function are. All right? Have fun with it.